Revealed, the sinister secrets I discovered as a night ranger in a haunted national park. The shadows loomed long and twisted across the forest floor, and as the chirping crickets faded, a spine-chilling silence settled in. Sam, a 20-something night ranger, felt the familiar tension grip his chest. He loved this job, the isolation, the towering pines, the infinite expanse of clear Oregon sky, but something was wrong tonight. It wasn't just the darkness or the fact that he worked the graveyard shift. Whispers trailed behind him, telling of restless spirits that flickered like candle flames in the depths of the dark. Strange lights danced just beyond his flashlight beam, only to vanish the moment he turned, leaving nothing but the sound of his heart pounding. Brush against trees felt different, almost like a hand brushing back. The tales of wrecked campsites and missing people replayed in his mind, always written off as simply nature's wrath or the stories made up to scare children. He shook his head. This wasn't some horror flick, he told himself, yet fear seeped into his bones. Around midnight, while patrolling the quiet trail snaking toward Maple Lake, he stumbled upon something that sent chills crawling up his spine, an old, rotting sign with a warning scarcely visible under decades of neglect: "Keep out." That sign was a remnant of a lost time, but beneath it, the unmistakable scent of decay wafted through the air. It wasn't natural, it felt as if the earth itself was protesting. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sam pushed past the sense of dread, heart thundering louder against his ribs as he approached the nearby diner, a hub for townsfolk. The couple who owned it, Laura and Jim, always greeted him with syrupy smiles and warm meals, yet something snagged at his gut when he considered their history: unexplained disappearances tied to the unsuspecting diner. The night air darkened, and he confronted them about the stories he had uncovered: missing persons cases, the chilling details of their last sightings near the confines of this park. To his surprise, they met his inquiries with sickening sweetness, casting his fears aside like fallen leaves. "You must have been hearing those wild tales again. They make quite the campfire story." They chuckled, their eyes cold and unreadable. But Sam's instincts screamed otherwise, and he found himself spiraling into paranoia. The closer he got to the truth, the more familiar faces morphed into potential threats. Shadows grew bolder, taunting him with hushed threats. Each step he took deeper into the night painted a deeper picture of dread: whispers, flickers of movement, a distant laughter that sent shivers racing down his spine. He had been thrust into a cycle of suspicion, and the fear that gnawed at him whispered each night until he could hardly sleep. He was no longer just a ranger. He was now a hunted man in a park where the spirits haunting the trees held keys to a much darker truth. As a figure moved silently, just beyond his peripherals, the question echoed loud in his mind: could he unveil the sinister secrets embedded in the earth before becoming the next victim to the darkness? A low rustling broke the stillness, snapping Sam out of his spiraling thoughts. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness, but the shadows had grown ever more restless, undulating like a living thing. He hesitated, scanning the darkness, straining to catch whatever might be lurking just beyond the edge of his vision. "Get it together," he whispered harshly to himself, but it did little to suffocate the knot of fear tightening in his gut. He could feel the slickness of sweat on his palms, each breath shallow. Memories of Laura and Jim's unnerving smiles clawed at his mind. The diner had once been a comforting brightness amidst the encroaching shadows, but now it felt tainted, as if something foul had seeped into its very foundations. Determined to shake off the fog of terror, he continued down the path toward Maple Lake. The moon hung low, a silver sliver glaring down at him, illuminating the foliage. But with every step, the air grew heavier, thicker. The whispers crescendoed, echoing between the trees, almost like laughter, low, taunting. Suddenly, the hair on the back of his neck prickled. A fleeting glimpse of movement, a ragged edge of something dark passing behind a nearby tree. Sam froze, every instinct screaming at him to run. Yet he couldn't help but move closer, compelled by a force he couldn't explain. The forest seemed to urge him on, its hunger palpable. "Hello?" he called, voice trembling. The only reply was the wind rustling through the leaves, carrying a soft, mocking susurration. Each rustle felt like a reminder of the stories he had brushed aside. Stories of those who ventured in and never came back. Would he become another flickering flame extinguished in the night? He pressed on, fueled by a blend of fear and determination, until he reached the lake. The surface was eerily still, reflecting an ink-black sky speckled with stars. But as his eyes adjusted, he noticed their faint, almost mocking flicker like they were stifling laughter. Heart racing, he knelt down and peered into the water. That's when he saw it, a face staring back at him, pale and sunken, eyes wide and hollow. Sam gasped, stumbling backward. The face vanished, as though it had never been there, but the impact left a rusting fear spreading through him. As he scrambled to his feet, nearly tripping over roots, he heard a sound, a distinct, deliberate thump from behind him. Spinning around, flashlight trembling in his grasp, he illuminated path after path meeting at the lake's edge. Shadows danced like serpents, twisting inhumanly. Another thump echoed, reverberating through the trees, closer this time. "Who's there?" His voice cracked, but silence responded. Every muscle tensed, his primal instinct urging him to confront the threat or escape. Finally, through the mist rolling off the water, a figure emerged. Tall and draped in darkness, it moved with a fluid grace that seemed wrong, unnatural. Sam's breath hitched as the entity drew closer, its features obscured, but the feeling of dread clawed at him like rough hands dragging him down. In that moment, all thoughts of the past faded. All his focus narrowed to the entity before him. Time slowed as he realized with sickening clarity that knowing the truth might not be a gift, but a deadly curse. The figure paused, tilting its head, eerily resembling the face he had seen in the water. "You came looking for answers," it murmured, voice hollow yet inviting, echoing with the weight of hidden knowledge. "But are you ready for the truth?" He staggered back, pulse racing. Was he truly ready to learn the sinister secrets this park held? His heart pounded, and when the figure stepped forward, a wave of cold wrapped around him. Not just from the fear, but an overwhelming sensation that the shadows were alive, hungry. As he turned to flee, the whispers crescendoed into an ear-splitting wail. What would he find if he never looked back? Would the secrets consume him, or free him? The question loomed as he sprinted back down the path, plunging deeper into the night's unforgiving embrace. The forest, teeming with unspeakable horrors, seemed alive, and something was hot on his trail. Could he outwit the shadows, or was he destined to join the lost souls that whispered in the dark? Branches slashed across Sam's face as he tore through the thicket, the damp air clinging to him like a shroud. Every sound, crunching leaves, snapping twigs, felt amplified in the sweltering silence surrounding him. He could hear it, the rustle of the shadows moving, drawing closer. Thump! 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 Each echo was a pulse of dread, the relentless beat of something pursuing him, feeding off his fear. He risked a glance back and saw nothing but darkness, heavy and suffocating, but he could feel it there, lurking just beyond the reach of his flashlight. "Why did I come here?" he gasped, desperation clawing at him as he stumbled over roots. The memories of the diner, of Laura's smile and Jim's laughter, suddenly felt like an anchor, dragging him down. The whispers surrounded him now, crashing through the wind like a storm, asking questions he dreaded. What would they ask of him if they found him? Would they want to know why he dared to cross into their realm? No! He wasn't doing this for them. He was doing this for himself. Panic breaths escaped him, and he pushed himself faster, limbs betraying him as they grew clumsy in the darkness. The fear coiled tighter in his stomach, the thought of becoming one of the lost souls a thought that wrung his heart in agony. Make it to safety. That was the only command in his mind. Just as he thought he might break through the wall of trees, he tumbled into a clearing that nearly took the breath from his lungs. The moon shone bright here, illuminating an old dilapidated cabin that seemed to float in the mist, half sunk by the earth and time. It looked abandoned, rundown, Windows cracked and dark, but Sam felt something pull him toward it. Inside, the air hung heavy, thick with the scent of decay and long molded wood. The panic subsided momentarily, replaced with curiosity that prickled at the edges of his mind. As if the walls themselves were whispering secrets, willing him to enter. He didn't want to. He was terrified. But something compelled him, a force more powerful than his fear. He stepped inside, heart hammering, the weight of the air pressing down on him. Every creak of the floorboards beneath him echoed like a scream, and the light from outside faded quickly. The dark was alive here, humming softly, beckoning him deeper into its embrace. That a single dusty table stood in the middle. He approached, noticing strange scratches etched into the wood symbols, perhaps. Each one, he realized, marked a name. Names of those who had vanished. Laura. Jim. Would his be next? Then he heard something moving, a shuffle that sent ice racing through his veins. The back of the room emanated a chill, and despite every instinct telling him to turn and bolt, he couldn't move. The shadows twisted, and just beyond the table, the darkness thickened. It was gathering, congealing into something new, something aware. Sam's breath hitched as he saw a figure form slowly, deliberately pressing through the dark like waves parting. "Welcome, seeker of truths," a voice whispered, familiar yet foreign, echoing from the deep void. "You came looking for answers, and now we have much to discuss." Fear clenched him like a vice. Why didn't he run away? Why wasn't he out in the open air, safe under the moonlight? With a heart trembling in his chest, he took a step back, ready to flee. But the door slammed shut behind him, locking him inside with whatever horror now stood waiting in the dark. "Will you spill your secrets?" it seemed to ask, but the question wasn't just directed at him. It was an invitation to a game he didn't want to play. What was the cost of the truth? As he stood paralyzed, he realized he might just find out. Would he survive to leave this place, or would the cabin's cold, waiting apparitions claim him as their own? The darkness flickered around him, alive with ancient whispers, and all at once, he knew he wasn't alone. The figure before Sam took shape, and it was both a comfort and a threat. A woman, eyes hollow and dark as bottomless pits, stood there, a grin creeping across her face like a shadow swallowing the last light. The air turned frigid, the musty scent of the cabin mixing with something metallic, a hint of blood, a warning that this was no ordinary figure. "Please," he rasped, each word heavy with dread. "Let me go." The words barely escaped his lips, lost in the oppressive darkness. But she only tilted her head, as if savoring his fear. "You wished to uncover the truth, didn't you? What lies behind memories forgotten?" Her voice danced with a melodic tone that sent shivers down his spine. "Your secrets have led you here, to the heart of despair." His heart raced like a trapped animal. "No! I didn't mean it. I just wanted to find what? The thrill of danger? To feel alive again?" But saying it made him sick, reminded him how naive he was to think he could control what awaited him. She stepped closer, her shadow stretching, engulfing Sam's legs. He squirmed but couldn't move, rooted to the spot by the weight of her gaze. "Oh, but you're just beginning the game. The cost is simple, one secret in exchange for another." Her grin widened, showing teeth that looked sharp, too sharp. "Tell me your fear, and I'll reveal a truth hidden in the depths of this place, a truth that may just save you." Panic twisted his gut like a knife. What if he revealed too much? The diner, Jim, Laura, would it drag them deeper into this darkness that pulsed around him? "I can't," he stammered. "Then you'll never leave." She extended her hand, beckoning him, the fingers curling like there was life in the air she touched. The dampness seemed to creep closer, the walls of the cabin leaning in, as if straining to hear what he would say. Sam's thoughts spiraled. Every memory flooded in, heartbreak and joy, but there was one he kept buried deeper, locked behind the shame. "I was responsible for them." His voice cracked on the last word. At that moment, the shadows thickened, swirling around her like restless spirits. "Ah, guilt," she cooed, "an excellent currency. But what if I told you the truth isn't as simple as you believe? What if they aren't lost? What if they are waiting for you here?" Everything inside him screamed to run. He wanted to snatch back his confession, shove it down where it belonged, and forget he said anything. "What do you mean?" Sam said, desperation curling his fingers into fists. Behind her, the shadows flickered, revealing brief visions of Laura and Jim, ghostly echoes of laughter, faces twisted in anguish. They were there, but not. As if caught between anguish and peace. "Do you see them? They want to be remembered and perhaps freed." Sam's heart raced. "Free?" he echoed, confusion mixing with hope. "What do you want? What do you want?" She shot back, her voice sharp like the corners of a shattered mirror. "Will you embrace the darkness, or will you run? Your choice. Confront the pain or become a shadow yourself." A loud crack broke through the stillness, and the walls shuddered, the cabin almost seeming to pulse with life. Fear clawed at him, but hope, ancient and dangerous, tugged at his heart. Could he really help them? But before he could answer, the shadows surged forward, coiling around him, tightening like a noose. And in that moment, he knew he was trapped in a web woven from his own choices, each second counting down toward an inevitable climax. With the darkness closing in, he realized this was only the beginning. The true game was starting. What would it ask of him next, and what would those he cared about pay for his choices? As the figure moved closer, Sam's breath hitched, ready for whatever horror awaited him next. "Let us unveil your past," she whispered, and all Sam could do was pray it wouldn't be his last breath. The shadows tightened around Sam like a vice, swirling and pulsating with a life of their own. The woman's grin widened, gleaming in the dim light, as her hollow eyes stared into his, a black abyss that seemed to pull him deeper. "You think your guilt is the only darkness here?" she murmured, her voice dripping with amusement. "How naive! Everyone has secrets, Sam. Some are whispered, some are buried, but all have a price." He could feel the cold seep into his bones, dousing any flicker of hope he had. "What do you want? How can I end this?" His voice trembled, barely above a whisper. "End it?" She laughed, a sound that echoed through the cabin like shattering glass. "Oh, sweet Sam, we're just getting started. Your truth lies not in the past, but in the future, a future that clings to the memories you so desperately wish to forget." Images erupted in his mind, flashes of laughter, tears, and shattered glass. He could see their faces, the brightness in their eyes snuffed out too soon. Laura, with her quick smile, Jim, his boisterous laugh. He had wanted answers, to unlock doors that had long been sealed, but he had never envisioned this. The shadows thickened, swirling around the figure, revealing fleeting glimpses of what lay beyond them, dark silhouettes of other souls trapped in perpetual suffering. Sam gasped as he recognized their wails of despair, voices begging for release. Who are they?" he hissed, his heart racing faster. "Victims of their own secrets," she replied, her eyes glinting with satisfaction. "Every choice matters, Sam. You are all connected through this web of anguish." He could taste fear like metal on his tongue. I did everything I could, to help them." "Did you?" Her laughter rang out, vibrating the very walls of the cabin. "You sought the thrill, didn't you? Each second, each decision drawing you closer to the truth and the danger. But tell me, who do you really save? Yourself or them?" Before he could respond, the darkness surged, wrapping around him tighter. In that moment, he was thrust into a memory he had locked away, a night of reckless abandon, laughter swirling in the air like music. The joy turned sour as he recalled the accident, the crash, the screams, the blood. "No!" He shook his head violently, desperation clawing at his insides. "I can't. I need to forget. What if forgetting is what keeps you trapped?" Her voice sang with haunting allure. "You can't run from the truth, Sam. If you choose to confront your demons now, they may just reveal what you truly seek and what is needed to free them." The wind howled outside, rattling the windows, a chorus of the night's despair. Sam's legs trembled, the weight of her words pressing down on him like stone. Could he face what had haunted him all these years? Make your choice, Sam. Remember, secrets have a way of coming back, especially if you refuse to acknowledge them. The shadows pulled away, revealing a path behind her, a doorway cloaked in darkness. From that doorway, familiar faces emerged, pleading silently, eyes filled with longing. Overwhelmed, his breath came in breathy gasps. If I step through, if I face them, what will I lose? Everything you hold dear, or everything that shackles you. The woman's grin was wide, impossibly cold, as she gestured toward the threshold. Sam looked into the darkness. The choice loomed over him, as heavy as the air surrounding him. Behind that door lay truths he had buried for too long, secrets that threatened to consume him. With heart thumping painfully, he took a step forward. As he crossed the threshold, shadows howled, a cacophony clamoring for his attention, desperate to drag him back. "Welcome to your reckoning," she whispered, her voice blending with the storm. What awaited him on the other side? Would he finally confront the darkness, or be swallowed whole by it? Stepping through that doorway thrust Sam into a realm of darkness, thick and suffocating. He found himself in a vast void, the air heavy with an oppressive energy. It felt like stepping into an ancient tomb, where shadows coiled around the remnants of memories long buried. Gradually, figures began to take shape within the inky blackness. Familiar faces flickered in and out of existence like broken lights. Their mouths moved, but no sound emerged. Panic rose in his chest as he stepped closer, desperate to hear their pleas. With each step, the floor beneath him felt unstable, as if he were walking on shattered glass. "Laura!" he called, searching frantically, heart hammering against his ribs. But the darkness swallowed his voice, echoing it back as a mocking whisper. Then he saw her, the shimmering outline of Laura, her eyes wide with an indescribable fear. "Sam," she mouthed, her lips trembling. The moment hung between them like a taut string, ready to snap. He reached out, but she faded like a mist, slipping through his fingers. "Don't go!" he cried, but it was too late. The shadows tightened around him, a swirling tempest of anguish that pulled him deeper into the night. The walls of the void began to shift. Memories rushed back, flooding his mind with a chilling clarity. Each moment of joy was tainted with regret, every laugh drowned out by the echo of their screams. He stumbled as a vision struck him, a flash of red lights, the roar of the sirens, and the smell of burning rubber. The weight of guilt crushed him, pressing him down until he felt he'd suffocate. "Did you come to save us, Sam?" a voice whispered from the shadows. It was Jim. His face appeared, half-formed, eyes filled with a despair that cut deeper than knives. "Or did you just come for the thrill?" "I was trying to help," Sam shouted, desperation clawing at him. "I never wanted this." The woman's laughter rose again, echoing, drowning out Jim's face. "Help? You've only ever chased the thrill, Sam. You never wanted to dig deep. You never wanted to know the truth." Suddenly, the darkness churned violently, and the void stretched wide, revealing fragments of past lives, flickering images trapped in the air like fireflies. Each person held a piece of his soul, their struggles visible in the lines of their faces. Sam's heart raced. "What do you want from me?" he screamed, his voice trembling, surrounded by the barrage of memories that danced just out of reach. "Face it," the woman commanded, emerging once more from the shadows. "They want you to face your truth. Only then can their souls be freed, only then can you escape this hell." A rush of adrenaline surged through him. Could he truly confront the weight of his past without being consumed? In every fragment, he saw moments he could change, decisions that led to broken lives. The question loomed over him, a dark storm cloud ready to strike. The shadows writhed again, closing in, and he felt their cold tendrils brush against his skin. "Choose, Sam." The woman leaned closer, her breath a chilling wind. "You either remain in this purgatory of guilt, or you pull the truth from the depths of your own darkness. But be warned, you might not like what you find." His breath came in gasps, heart racing as he felt both fear and a strange pull towards the darkness. What truth awaited him? It could shatter what was left of his sanity, or reveal a liberation he never dreamed possible. Could Sam uncover the secrets to set you free, or would they exact an even heavier price? Without hesitation, he sprinted deeper into the unknown, determined to confront the horrors that lay ahead. But what he found on the other side might stretch his mind to its very limits, leaving him vulnerable to forces beyond his understanding. It loomed closer with every heartbeat. Would he be able to survive the reckoning that awaited him? The darkness swallowed him whole, an inky abyss that pulsed with a malevolent energy. Sam could feel it coiling around him, wrapping tightly against his skin like serpents, ready to suffocate him. Each heartbeat echoed in the stillness, a reminder of his mortality, while the void whispered secrets he dared not know. He stumbled forward, limbs heavy, with shadows swirling around him like thick smoke. The air felt electric, charged with the tension of a storm that never broke. Flickering images danced just beyond his reach, glimpses of past moments, half-formed faces, and snapshots of regret. They flickered rapidly, compelling yet terrifying, stirring something primal within him. Remember, a voice coaxed, low and seductive. It spoke from the depths, vibrations reverberating through him. Remember the night that changed everything. Images rushed at him, the wreckage, the twisted remains, sirens blaring. His stomach churned as he forced his mind to stay focused, pushing aside the wave of nausea. That night had been buried, but now it clawed its way back to the surface, relentless and hungry. Panic gripped him as he recalled the faces of those who had been there, faces that merged in the shadows. "What do you want?" he shouted, the echo of his voice lost within the shifting darkness. "What do you want from me?" "Redemption," the voice hissed, almost teasing. "But first, you must feel their pain." Through the stinging haze, fragments of Laura's laughter echoed. "You chose the thrill, Sam. You ran away when we needed you most." Each word dripped with accusation, her presence a ghostly weight pressing against his chest. He squeezed his eyes shut, trying to banish the torment. But then, a blinding light pierced through the shadows, illuminating a path ahead. Sam's heart raced with a mix of fear and hope. Was it an escape? Or something worse? He stepped cautiously, drawn by its glow. The light flickered, revealing a forest clearing shrouded in mist. "Laura?" he called, desperation clawing at his throat. The presence of the forest felt familiar, yet utterly foreign. The trees loomed like watchful sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out as if to ensnare him. As he drew closer, the ground crunched beneath his feet, remnants of twigs and dried leaves snapping like bones. The air was thick with the scent of decay. The light pulsed with intensity, and in its heart, he saw a figure pale and haunting. It was a boy, no older than 16, eyes wide with terror and sorrow. "Help me," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You have to find the truth, Sam." Fear plunged deep into Sam's gut. "What happened to you? What do you want from me?" The boy's mouth quivered, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips. "You know, somewhere inside. You didn't save us. You let us down. You can't escape this." The boy's eyes darkened, and suddenly, darkness erupted from the trees, intertwining with the mist, warping the clearing into a horrific vision. Faces appeared, his friends, lost in anguish, eyes pleading, screams muffled by the encroaching fog. "Sam!" they cried, their voices bleeding together. "You have the power to save us or leave us to this fate." The realization hit him like a punch to the gut. This was his reckoning. They were trapped because of him, and if he didn't confront the truth, they would remain here forever, lost in a hell of his making. A surge of determination flooded through him. The whispers of truth guided him like a compass, something deep inside him clamoring to be released. "Tell me," he shouted, voice fierce against the swell of confusion. "What do I have to do?" Silence hung thick in the air. Then the boy stepped closer, eyes blazing with urgency. "You must look into the abyss, Sam. Only then will you see the truth of your past and the cost of your choices. But beware, what you find may shatter everything you hold dear." The truth was drawing closer now, a beast waiting to be unleashed. Heart pounding, Sam inhaled deeply, ready to face whatever nightmare his reckoning would reveal. But the shadows stirred around him, hungry and restless. Will you be brave enough to confront it? Or will darkness claim you as its own? With each sound of his pulse, the answer remained tantalizingly just out of reach. What awaited him at the end of this harrowing journey would be the ultimate test of his courage or his demise. And just like that, he took a step forward into the unknown, the darkness swirling around him like a cloak. Would he discover salvation or plunge deeper into despair? The answer loomed dangerously ambiguous, leaving a chilling anticipation that curled around him like smoke. The boy's eyes widened, the weight of his gaze drilling into Sam's soul. "You have to look for them," he urged, his voice barely a whisper now. "You must find the truth before it's too late." Sam felt queasy, the pit of his stomach churning. "But I don't know where to begin." The clearing had become a twisted stage of terror, and he was the unwilling actor. He could feel the thick fog creeping in, encasing him like a spider's web, and the cries of his friends only fueled the panic spiraling within. The boy stepped back, the glow of the light flickering as if taunting him. "You do know, Sam. You just refuse to see. The forest remembers. It won't let you forget." A sudden rustling in the trees snapped Sam's attention. Darkness began to twist and swirl, forming shapes that seemed to crawl towards him. His heart raced, and dread washed over him like an icy wave. "Get away!" he shouted, stepping back. "I'm not afraid of you." "Are you sure?" the boy asked, an eerie grin spreading across his face. The shadows grew thicker around them, like a living entity with a mind of its own. Sam clenched his fists, battling against the suffocating grip of fear. "I will find the truth," he shouted defiantly, biting back frustration. His friends' faces merged and twisted in the mist, each one a reminder of his guilt and sorrow. "I won't let you haunt me forever." With renewed urgency, Sam spun around, scanning for any sign of hope. The boy hadn't moved, his eyes shimmering with a knowing sadness. "The truth lies ahead, in the darkness beyond. But remember, Sam, it'll demand a price." "Anything," Sam said, breathless. "I will pay." The boy hesitated, the smile fading. He took a step closer, the air around him crackling with tension. "Then follow the shadows. They will guide you to the echoes of that night." In that moment, something shifted in the clearing. The mist parted, revealing a narrow path shrouded in darkness. Sam felt an unnatural pull, as though the shadows were beckoning him. The ground was cold beneath his feet, but he stepped forward, each stride a mix of fear and necessity. The deeper he moved into the gloom, the louder the cacophony of voices became his friends, crying out for his help, desperate for the salvation he had once denied them. The pounding in his chest matched the rhythm of their pleas. "I'm sorry! I'm coming for you!" he yelled, hoping against hope that his words carried some weight. Suddenly, he came across a weathered bench that seemed out of place, untouched by the encroaching rot of the forest. A sickening sense of familiarity washed over him. The bench they had sat here. Laughter echoed in his head, and he remembered countless moments shared, friendship, warmth, and then, loss. His throat tightened as he recalled the last moments before everything changed. "Sam!" The boy's voice broke through, sharp and piercing. "You have to look closer." He turned back to the path, scanning the darkness for answers, yearning to understand the truth buried beneath layers of regret. Just then, flickers of memory threaded through the shadows, images of his friends, radiant and alive, suddenly darkened by a violent crash, screams blending into an atmospheric symphony of fear. "No," he whispered. Tears stung his eyes. "I was there. I could have saved you." The mist thickened, forming a barrier he couldn't see through. Sam forced himself to confront it. "Just show me what happened. I need to know." The words spilled from his lips raw and desperate. The forest grew silent, as if holding its breath, waiting, and then, in a flash of clarity, Sam saw it, a glimmer of a car's headlights, the shattering glass, a child's laughter that morphed into a shrill scream. Visions turned chaotic, swirling over him and crashing against his mind with the force of a tidal wave. The truth was frightening, devastating, but something deeper churned beneath it all. As shadows writhed, enveloping him once again, he felt the ground quake beneath him. "What did I miss?" he screamed, panic tethering him to the moment. The boy's voice seemed distant now, drowned by the murmurs of the approaching darkness. Remember, find the echoes or be lost forever. Fear gripped him, and for an instant, the weight of clarity became too much to bear. He gasped for breath, fighting against the suffocating presence of regret. Had he truly missed something vital, the key to his redemption? As darkness swept in, Sam understood. He could not escape without facing every heart-wrenching moment of that fateful night. With one last surge of courage, he threw himself forward, ready to confront the impending dread. The light flickered, but in the chaos, something sinister lurked, watching, waiting. What were the shadows hiding, and would he be brave enough to face the echoes that could unravel everything he thought he knew? A low growl reverberated through the trees, sending shivers down his spine. The truth awaited, but at what cost? Sam felt the ground pulse, a heartbeat beneath his feet. The shadows writhed more aggressively now, pressing in on him like a living entity. He clenched his fists again, his breath coming in quick gasps. Each step deeper into the darkness felt like stepping through a doorway into a nightmare he could not escape. "Keep going," the boy urged, his voice echoing through the air, almost drowned out by the rising chorus of anguished cries. "Don't stop." The path twisted ahead, branches scratching at Sam's arms like skeletal fingers eager to pull him back. How many reminders of his betrayal could he take? With every echo that danced in his ears, each laugh turned to a scream. His resolve shrank. "You're almost there," the boy screamed, desperation mingling with encouragement. But the dread was suffocating. Each whisper and cry from the past chipped away at Sam's sanity. "I need to remember," he shouted, words spilling from raw emotion. It was a mantra, maybe? A plea. Without warning, the shadows surged forward, swallowing him whole. Just as he thought he had lost himself completely, he tumbled onto solid ground. He found himself on a darkened road, the gravel crunching underfoot. His surroundings twisted, the road stretching on infinitely in both directions. Flickering streetlights cast long, wavering shadows that whispered haunting truths. Somewhere, the sound of sirens wailed, distant and disembodied. "Is anyone there?" he called out, but there was no answer, only the slow ricochet of sound off the trees that swayed like ghostly figures looming overhead. He closed his eyes, willing himself to summon the courage that had echoed through him moments before. That when he saw them, a blur of colors darting through the darkness. His friends. They were in a frenzy, laughter and screams intertwining in a cacophony of voices that collided around him. "Sam! Sam, help us!" A flash of memory sparked. Again they deplayed a night filled with joy, before dread had wrapped its icy fingers around their fate. He pushed through the veil of darkness, searching desperately for the faces he once knew so well. But the laughter twisted into wails. The vibrant colors morphed, fading into ashen shapes that flitted beyond his reach. Panic clawed at him as the pavement shifted beneath him, transforming into the uneven terrain of the forest that had swallowed so much. Visions crashed through his mind. The realization hit him like a slap. Voices didn't haunt because they wanted to scare him, but rather, they wanted to reveal the truth. Each echo was a strand of his past, a piece of a puzzle he had overlooked in his search for redemption. "Find the echoes," whispered the boy's voice, faint yet clear. The shadows flickered, offering snatches of broken images. A shattered glass. A scream. A vivid flash of headlights piercing through the fog. Each moment punctured through him, inflicting fresh pain, yet beckoning him to delve deeper. He stumbled across a split in the road, two paths stretching before him. One path was dark, menacing, and shrouded in shadows, the other was eerily bathed in soft moonlight, tempting in its serenity. "Where do I go?" Sam shouted, hope faltering on the edges of despair. "What if I pick the wrong path?" A chilling breeze whispered through the trees. Sam realized he couldn't let fear paralyze him. He had to choose. But could he trust his instinct after all he had lost, all he had failed? With a determined breath, he made his decision, stepping forward only to hear a sharp crack follow him, the sound of something large breaking through the branches behind him. Before he could turn, a guttural growl erupted from the darkness, its origin unseen, yet palpable. Sam, the boy's voice echoed as an unseen force pulled at him. "What have you chosen?" Panic clawed at his insides. The truth was waiting, but the darkness was hungry. Would he embrace it or flee? The growl grew louder, a sound that promised doom, wrapping around him like a demon's grip. The choice he made could drown him, or lead to salvation. What awaited him in the shadows? The shadows thickened, swallowing Sam whole as he stumbled through the forest, hearts pounding, choices heavy. He could feel it, a malicious presence. The growl echoed more fiercely, a warning that every step forward pulled him closer to danger. Fear danced at the edge of his mind. With each step, the ground seemed to pulse beneath him, urging him to confront the choices that had haunted him since that fateful night. Find the echoes, the boy's voice echoed like a beacon, but the cacophony of grief and guilt loomed larger as he pressed onward. I have to do this, Sam shouted, determination leaking through the cracks of fear. He remembered the feeling of elation before the crash, the laughter, the innocence. Then darkness had wrapped its claws around their lives, severing joy from reality. I will find the truth, he yelled, building upon the strength that sparked deep within. Then, there it was, a clearing just ahead. The air seemed to shift as he stepped into the moonlight, revealing a twisted tableau of the past etched in the very earth. Everything pulsed and trembled under the weight of 1,000 memories, flickering like dying embers. Faces began to manifest, trapped in the murky depths, seeking connection that had long been severed. Laura! He cried, heart racing, eyes wide. She flickered before him, a shimmering semblance of the vibrant friend he lost. You're here! Hope ignited, but it quickly darkened as her figure faded, replaced by another flash of guilt. Jim, laughing one moment, terrified the next. Sam, Jim whispered, almost lost in the wind. Remember, don't run from us. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Panic surged as Sam grabbed at the fading images. I never wanted this for any of us. The ground trembled once more, and harsh, mocking laughter echoed from somewhere in the shadows. You thought freeing them was as simple as confessing your guilt? The darkness swirled, revealing the woman with hollow eyes again, a twisted grin stretching across her face. You must confront the truth behind your choices, Sam. Not just for them, for yourself. I don't know if I can. His breath hitched, every word catching in his throat. I can't face what I've done. Face it. Her voice rose like a storm, drowning everything else. Tell them the truth. No! He screamed, but the shadows shifted, pulling him into their depths. As they closed in, he felt the unraveling tether of regret. The boy's voice broke through the noise he had tried so hard to silence. Sam, remember what you've learned, it's your chance for redemption. And in that moment of clarity, something clicked. He understood. It wasn't just about confessing guilt. It was about embracing the truth, the pain, and the love entwined in those memories. With trembling resolve, he opened his heart to the shadows. You were my friends. I let my fear win. I should have fought for you, every single one of you. I didn't want the thrill, I wanted to protect you. The shadows hesitated, swirling, shifting, and for the first time, it felt like they were listening. Fragments of memories surged around him, the laughter from before, a melody of freedom, now tinged with sorrow, but still resonating. Sam Laura's voice whispered through the haze, warm and inviting. You're brave for choosing to face this. I'm ready, he declared, grounding himself. Ready to remember it all, to face the truth. The darkness trembled, thrumming with energy, and the echoes of grief began to morph into something softer. If he could confront his past, if he could own every moment, then maybe, just maybe, he could unveil the truth and release their tormented souls. A light flickered in the distance, promising liberation. Come with me, let us find peace together, let us not be shadows anymore. With each word, he felt his friend's warmth wrapping around him, the ancient burden of guilt fading. The shadows danced in a frenzy, but movement began to shift, twisting into beams of light surrounding them. Together! The boy shouted, and in a surge of energy, Sam surged forward, embraced by warmth. The truth spilled forth, a release like petals in a breeze, lifting the weight of loss. Confession intertwined with love, and he felt them break free, the echoes no longer hollow, but living, vibrant shapes. Thank you, they whispered, a chorus of relief accompanying his own. You did it. You faced your fears. The shadows burst into a kaleidoscope of color, swirling around him like a whirlwind of energy, memories intertwining in joyful laughter as they transcended the weight of despair. With one final shift, Sam found himself transported back into the moonlit clearing, heart pounding with vibrant life. The weight of the world lifted as warmth replaced the chill, their spirits free, dancing among the stars. Laura Jim, he breathed, tears of joy streaming down his face as the last remnants of worry melted away. You're free. And they were, their figures glowing against the night. He could feel their love wrapping around him, fragility replaced by strength. As the forest brightened, Sam walked back toward the cabin with newfound purpose. The haunted night had transformed. The shadows were now just echoes, reminders of choices faced, terror conquered, and a past reconciled. Thank you, he whispered, knowing he could now carry their memories forward. I'll remember, I'll cherish you always. As dawn broke, he looked to the horizon, a symbol of beginnings. No more fear. Only love. Only hope. Now go on and subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. We need your voice to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And this is the moment to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.